And my question really is about stationarity. A lot of the work that's being done by our climate impact group at the University of Washington is looking at climate change projections and looking at historic flows. Sometimes is not only not valuable, it kind of is, it misdirects the the profile. So my question to you is, how can you really adjust for climate change in these very dynamic watersheds? And have you thought about using scenario projections instead of just using stationarity?
Well, in fact, USGS authors were, I think, the first to publish a scientific article that said stationarity is dead. And so we've recognized that for some time, and the community has as well. The challenge in the community now in terms of calculating annual exceedance probabilities is that the methods that we have, we recognize that they're based on stationarity, but we do not yet have statistical methods that will allow us to account for non-stationarity. A federal interagency group published Bulletin 17B, 20 or 30 years ago. It's about to be updated. It recognizes non-stationarity. It offers some ways to take that into account. It offers ways to use paleo data in the calculations. So, the science, I think, in terms of kind of approved methods for calculating, flood levels hasn't caught up with our understanding of what's happening. I think that, at least it's my view, and I think I share this with others, is that our modeling capabilities, are taking our global climate change models and downscaling them to watersheds does not, they're not accurate enough for us to forecast what floods are going to be in the future. We're working on that. Actually, some of your colleagues at University of Washington published a paper on, they've said, why are there so many forecasts for what the Colorado River is going to do, in the next century? And they did a really nice job of describing, the differences in their approaches and why, this paper says the flow is going to decrease by 40%, and this paper says it's going to be about the same. So I think the bottom line is the science is not there for us to project what future flood levels will be.
Okay. Other questions? There's a hand up. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a in the back.
Hi, I'm Mary McGowan from Idaho, the former NFIP state coordinator, and this question is for Ms. Gilinsky. So, there is a large Superfund site in northern Idaho, and so everything is being done under CERCLA regulations as far as remediation. Approximately $1 billion has been spent so far, removing contaminated soils, bringing clean soil in. Flooding was never taken into account. And now EPA says they'll only pay for 50-year protection when it puts all the remediation at risk. And I guess I wonder, under the proposed rule, if CERCLA areas are exempt, or how can we deal with bringing that part of EPA into what you talked about today?
Okay, well, I really can't comment on that particular project, and I'm not familiar. I don't really participate in the CERCLA program, but the Waters of the U.S. proposed rules, what you're talking about, I don't really think that the Waters of the U.S. is a separate thing than the remediation project under CERCLA. So they're really not directly related. So I really can't comment on such a specific project.
Okay. I think there was somebody with a hand up. Okay, up front.
Hi, this is for Mr. Hanlin. The USGS, the NRCS snow survey program is extremely important for a lot of water resource managers in the West in particular. And I guess I had a couple questions. One is, what's the importance of the snow service or snow survey program within our NRCS relative to the other programs? And also, if you could address the long-term data sets that you're gathering on snow and how you're planning to upgrade and maintain the infrastructure that monitors the snow throughout the West.
Yeah, it's incredibly important to NRCS. For those of you not familiar with this, the monitoring we do on the snowpack each year, for the folks who are out west managing floods, and farmers and ranchers and people who get irrigation districts all rely on this to be able to predict what the stream flows are going to be from rivers that primarily depend on melting snow. And we gather that data really two different ways. We have historical points that we literally have people hike up into the mountains with very long poles with numbers on them who actually go to the exact same location that they've been going to for 70 years and measure exactly on certain days of the month what the snow depth is. We also have, we've been putting in also additional remote monitoring stations that monitor the snow accumulation and the weather and the temperature and all these things as well. Both of those are extremely expensive, and so we've really had to rely on folks like yourself to keep reminding Congress that the funding for that is incredibly important and that it's necessary. They have decreased because sequester hit us with losing some of that funding, but we've tried to shift money around to be able to maintain that, which we've been able to do. But it's something that we recognize that unless our partners out there continue to talk to members of Congress about why this is important, you never know what might happen. But we definitely understand the importance of this.
Okay, and last question over here, Larry Larson.
Kirk, I wanted to, a suggestion and an offer. We're pretty excited about the conservation programs, and we want to work with you on that. My suggestion, by the way, is that you lose the term flood control. That's a 20th century term that I don't think we in the profession try not to use anymore. It's flood risk reduction, it's flood, those sorts of things. But we do want to work with you on, especially the new regional conservation programs, to say how can we in the association help get that word out and help explain. It's kind of evolving, I understand that. So, but as it does, we want all of our people working on watersheds trying to incorporate those programs as part of that flood risk reduction programs that they do. So we want to work with you closely on that.
And thanks on both accounts. I'll put that in the brain. I really, and I'll tell you, I apologize because I should have put more time to talk about this new program in a little bit less about the history in my 20 minutes. But I really, again, urge everyone, take a look at the website, and then if you reach out to our state conservationists who will be listed on the website, they're listed right there. They can put you in touch with other groups, because there's groups that are forming to try to talk about this about this program. And even if you decide you don't want to apply this year, we're going to be doing this same solicitation for the next 3 years. It'll be about $200 million each year after this year. But we would really love to get you folks involved right up front. And you don't have to have the burden of saying, oh gosh, I've got to fill this all out. I've got to be the lead organization. Because as I said, there's other groups who have share many of the same concerns that you do, maybe from a different direction. Like, as an example, the Nature Conservancy or Ducks Unlimited may want to work on getting a wetlands easement done for their purposes, which are totally different than flood mitigation purposes. But the outcome is exactly what you want. And having you as a partner in this helps strengthen that proposal, because one of the things we're going to be looking at is how many partners are involved, meaning that there's broad community support. Also, the fact that you're going to have some staff time on that, even though those are dollars that you're not actually putting in, those dollars count as far as you saying, well, I'm going to have X amount of staffers who are going to have to go out and talk to people in the community, and you quantify that counts as we look at the contribution our partners are giving to the program. So it really will help in your states if you get your team involved. And I guarantee you there are groups meeting right now. I had a meeting yesterday, I had a meeting the day before with 30 partners each here in Washington State about this. I'm going to be meeting next Groundhog Day, next week in Illinois to talk to folks about the Mississippi River Basin about this. So I'm going up to Alaska. As soon as I leave this meeting, I head to the airport. So this is a very big program, and I really urge you to get involved.
Okay, I'm going to ask Steve McMaster to come up for some final comments, and in the meantime, let's give our panelists again another round of applause.